What was your initial reaction when you get a phone call from Disney being like, "Hey Kenneth, we'd love you to direct Cinderella"?
Surprise and delight, I believe, is the phrase. I think that I hadn't imagined doing a fairy tale, and I hadn't imagined doing Cinderella, which I thought of as a very, very woman's kind of story, and indeed it is, and I began to think that's a wonderful thing to do. And I found out that Chris Weitz had written the script, and I'd worked with him recently, and I liked him very much, and read it and thought, no, this is actually feels very new and very fresh.
Talk me through the moment that you got that phone call saying, "Congratulations, you're going to be Cinderella."
It was a very special moment. Ken rang me himself and said, he wanted me to be his Cinderella, and I was just so overwhelmed, and I was very shocked, and it had been such a long audition process, so I just couldn't believe it. It was just really wonderful.
Talk me through your kind of initial reaction when you got the phone call being like, "We'd love you to play Prince Charming."
It was like, yes! And then it was like, oh God, how am I going to pull this off? And everyone's going to think I'm wrongly cast, and he's not my idea of a prince. And so I was like, oh, how do I do this? But then I looked at the original animation. He's only got 2 or 3 scenes. We don't even get to know his name. So I was like, okay, actually I can build a character from scratch. And there's no one better than Kenneth Branagh to kind of guide me through that process.
It must be such a treat for you when a job like this comes your way, because it's a fairy tale, so it must be great to design for that.
Absolutely. No, this is a costume designer's dream, where you're given I was also given free range to really let my imagination run wild.
And of course, the blue ball gown is such an iconic Disney dress. How did you kind of want to approach it and put your own spin on it?
I decided at the beginning that I wanted to make it completely different. In fact, I was even thinking about not making it blue. It didn't occur to me that it should be blue, really. I thought, we're doing a different version, I'll do a different kind of dress. And went through various colour options and thought about various colour options and realised that none of them were right, none of them really worked, and for some reason came back to the blue, by which time I realised that, of course, it couldn't be anything other than blue. But I had to sort of go around the houses to get back to the blue. And then in terms of shape and silhouette, I did want it to be a little different from the animated one.
Now, your costumes, of course, were incredible. You got to wear the ultimate blue dress. But did you get any kind of dress envy? Because there were some incredible other costumes in this film.
All the costumes. And you know what's amazing is that in that ballroom sequence, all these princesses from across the world that came, and each of their costumes were to die for. The beauty, the detail.
I wanted it to look spectacular. In its scale and its size, which it is, but I wanted it to suit Cinderella's character, which is sort of rather simple, and her beauty stands out from, because of that, from her simplicity as opposed to over-adornment or embellishment, like everybody else at the ball, dripping with jewels and decoration to try and attract the prince's attention.
How did you feel when you kind of first saw your costume? Because those trousers are tight.
They are tight. Well, I had great discussions with Sandy Powell, who's an amazing costume designer. There's kind of a reason she's got 3 Oscars. And we discussed about trying to retain a masculinity to this prince through his costume, rather than it being too kind of wet or foppish, which was great until I saw the ballroom outfit, which is skin-tight white trousers and, a white doublet with sequins and glitter on, and I was like, Sandy, we talked about this.
Often in period films the men are as elaborate as the women, but they just sort of go unnoticed, unfortunately. And because we were dealing with royalty, and all these men are sort of quite heavily decorated, it's really good fun doing the men too.
Was there one moment on set for you that was particularly magical to shoot, or just to
the
be
middle of the ballroom sequence? There was a day on which we shot 5 dances back to back from 8 o'clock in the morning till 6, 7 o'clock at night.
The first day we started shooting in the ballroom, and when Lily first appears on set at the top of the stairs and everybody's looking, and it really was one of those moments.
The adrenaline, the endorphin energy in the room was so incredible. It was on the huge ballroom set, on the huge 007 soundstage at Pinewood, and it was an absolutely magical day where I felt like I'd gone to the ball.